What's up, everybody? Christian Ballard here with Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with another college football preview video today. And up today, Florida Gators. All right, so the Florida Gators are coming off a really good season last year, 11-2 overall, 10-2 in the regular season. Their only losses were at LSU, and then of course the Georgia game, where Georgia won that and pretty much clinched the East. So not a bad season for Dan Mullen in year 2, or was it year 3? I think it was year 2. I can look real quick. I got it pulled up right here, actually. But yeah, so that was year 2, and he improved with what he did by one game. But you know, that's a lot better. Either way, I guess. I don't want to say a lot better, but I think when you look at what Dan Mullen did in his first year, I guess he went, 9-3 the regular season, plus a Peach Bowl win over Michigan, which kind of made a statement for Florida, I think. And Felipe Franks, and of course, you know, I think when you look at that for Dan Mullen, it kind of showed that he really wanted this job. I think it showed that he is the right guy for this job and the right coach. So he's had really great success so far with, you know, what he has done as a head coach. He's already 21-5 in 2 seasons. So that's pretty good. He'll be looking to build off what he did last year with his success. His only 2 losses against LSU, 42-28 on the road in Baton Rouge. Of course, we know LSU went on to make the playoffs and go 15-0 with Coach O and Joe Burrow and the Heisman and all that. Let me plug my computer in. And then, of course, 2 weeks later, or whatever, 3 weeks, whatever you want to look at, they lose to Georgia. Well, we know Georgia went on to win the Sugar Bowl against Baylor. Pretty good win for Georgia. And they won the SEC East and lost to LSU, who eventually, again, won the Natty. So when you look at it on paper or whatever, and you look at those 2 games, they also only lost by a touchdown to Georgia, 24-17, the score of that game. Florida had some really good success for Dan Mullen, or with Dan Mullen, I should say, in year 2, and they'll be looking to build off that. Then they make the Orange Bowl, win against Virginia 36-28. I feel like defense could have done a little bit better in that game, in my own opinion. But anything can really happen in a ball game. Virginia had Bryce Perkins, who was a pretty decent quarterback last year for them in years prior. So they'll be looking to build off the success and make a run at the SEC championship and potentially the college football playoff. So with that, let's get into the 2020 season. All right, you look at it, pretty slow start here for the Gators. Open up with a cupcake in Eastern Washington. Then you stay at home for 3 weeks. Or really, you open up with 3 home games. You stay at home after that for 2 more weeks with Kentucky and South Alabama. You go on the road at Neyland, at Tennessee. Then your homecoming game, South Carolina comes to town. Then a big game to circle on your calendars. Everybody. LSU, the defending champs, come to town. I'll do a preview video for them later on. And that they come to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville. Then you're on the road at Ole Miss. Then a bye week before the Georgia game on Halloween, October 31st. Neutral site game in Jacksonville like it normally is, which, you know, that might be the only game you lose this year. More on that after I get through the rest of the schedule. At Vandy. Then home against Missouri, home against New Mexico, and at Florida State. And then after Florida State, potential SEC championship, we'll see. So when I look at the schedule, it's actually really favorable. I mean, listen, Eastern Washington, cupcake, no problem. Kentucky, at home. Kentucky's fallen down the past couple of years with Mark Stoops. Should be no problem, but then again, Kentucky has had some decent success the past couple of years. We'll see what they look like. South Alabama Jaguars, cupcake, no problem. At Tennessee, I don't think Tennessee's quite there yet. Again, I did a Tennessee preview video. I think I predicted like 9-3 or 8-4 or something. You can go back and watch that if you missed it. So I really don't see Tennessee winning that game. It might be close, but I think Florida, again, favorable schedule. You're going at Tennessee, and it's early in the year. I really would pick Florida to win that game. Then you get your homecoming game against South Carolina. They come to Gainesville. Should have no problem winning that. So you're on a good roll there, winning your first 4 or 5 games. Then a big one, October 10th. LSU comes to town. I really don't know really who to pick for this game, honestly. I like Florida because it's at home. Now, if this game were like it was last year at Death Valley, I'd be picking LSU. It's loud there. I know they lose guys like Edwards-Helaire and Rashad Lawrence on the defense, and then they lose Joe Burrow. I get all that. They lose their coordinators, but they're the defending champs, and they still return some pretty good talent on the team. They'll still be a really good team to watch next year, LSU. Will they be as good as last year? Probably not. But the fact that Florida is getting this early test at home, that makes me want to raise my eyebrows and just go, wow. I think Florida, I don't know. That's one of those games I really don't want to pick at the moment. I really don't know. I'd say probably Florida just because it's in Gainesville. And again, with what LSU's losing. But then again, we still don't know exactly what LSU's going to do coming off a championship. Then you go on the road at Ole Miss. Should be no problem. That's the one team you get outside of your cross-division rival in LSU. That's the one other team you get from the West this year is Ole Miss, and that's on the road. Then you get a bye week. Perfect timing right before the Georgia game. That's like the one game right there everyone is going to most likely pick Florida to lose. If there's any game I'm picking Florida to lose right now, it's the Georgia game. Georgia just signed the #1 recruit class. They bring in this guy, Jamie Newman from Wake Forest, who probably should have been the starter there. Maybe he was. I might be wrong, but someone let me know. You get Zach. You get quite a bit of talent in the wide receiver class and running back. Again, they signed the #1 recruiting class. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle. Good replacement there for Andrew Thomas, who's going to the draft. So you guys will have elite offensive line. A guy in Jalen Carter who could be a great defensive tackle. I'm looking, again, at this year's Georgia recruiting class. Not going to go through all of them. I'll get into some more of that, I guess, for the Georgia video. And again, we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like. Will it be Carson Beck, the guy they just picked up, who's very elite? Will it be Jamie Newman? Will it be Dwan Mathis? We will see. So again, I'm not going to pick the LSU or Georgia game at the moment. Actually, I will. I probably would pick Georgia to win it right now. I do like Florida. Don't be surprised if they win that game, but expect it to be a close one. At Vandy, no problem there. Vandy's terrible. I don't care where it is. I doubt Florida's going to be, so bad or anything like that to where they're going to lose to Vanderbilt. Come on, they're better than that. Missouri comes to town. That's always an interesting game. I think Florida's lost that game a couple times here or there. You get them at home. Should be no problem. New Mexico State and then at Florida State. 2 cupcakes. I'll do a Florida State video pretty soon. New Mexico State should be no problem. On the road at Florida State. Let me look this up real quick. When's the last time Florida State beat Florida? Let's see. Well, it's been a couple years. Florida's on a 2-game win streak. I would assume they would extend it to 3 this year. So, anyway. So, if you're asking me, you're looking at a 11-1. I'm going to pick 11-1. I think they can handle LSU at home this year. I think that, again, LSU is going to be working with a new quarterback. Joe Burrow's gone. Edwards-Helaire, I think, declared for the draft. I think Justin Jefferson. So they'll have some holes to fill. They also lose guys like Joe Brady and I think Dave Aranda, who are now, I think one of them became the Baylor head coach. I think that was Aranda, and I think Joe Brady went to the Panthers. So they got a couple guys to replace on the coaching staff, plus a quarterback, plus, some offensive weapons around Joe Burrow, who again is the guy that they're replacing. But so I don't know. I think it's a favorable schedule for Florida. Should have no problem. Should they lose any game that they're not supposed to lose? Probably the Tennessee game early, but I don't see that happening. I think they got it. So for Florida for 2020. I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to say 11-1 for the Florida Gators in 2020. It's going to be a good season. Very favorable schedule. I think the only game they lose is the Georgia game. I do think they can beat LSU. LSU, again, is still going to be good. They're the defending champs. They got some good talent coming back, but they do lose a lot. That's why I'm not picking them. They're not going to be the same as they were last year. Again, Ole Miss on the road. Florida should handle them. South Carolina, Tennessee, South Alabama, Eastern Washington, New Mexico State, Florida State. Those are teams that are not really going to compete with Florida this year, I think. So, but you never know. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like, hit the subscribe button if you're new. I'm trying to be a sportscaster. This is one preview video that I'm doing. I'm going to be doing these for the next couple months, maybe weeks or whatever. Just kind of try to throw a team preview video here or there as we get closer to college football season. And I guess it's 6 months away or whatever right now, but still, quite a few teams I still want to preview. I still want to do Georgia, LSU. I think Ohio State is one I want to do as well. So I got quite a few more coming your way on BSM Network, Ballard Sports Media. Yeah. But anyway, so that's pretty much it for me. Again, maybe an 11-1 season. Maybe just the Georgia game is the only one they lose. But again, you never know. LSU could be good enough to beat Florida on the road. But we will see. So 11-1, Florida Gators. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Until then, Ballard Sports Media, checking out.